The internet is on fire right now because what just went down between Jim Jones and Tony Yayo. Live on air might be one of the wildest, most heated confrontations hip-hop fans have seen in years. What started as a seemingly normal interview spiraled into pure chaos when Tony Yayo, never one to hold his tongue, decided to call Jim Jones out directly in front of thousands of live viewers. Within minutes, voices were raised, tempers flared, and the entire live stream exploded into a verbal war that had fans screaming, "This just went too far." According to multiple eyewitness clips circulating online, Tony didn't just argue with Jim, he exposed him. He brought up old beefs, hidden alliances, and behind-the-scenes deals that Jim clearly didn't want anyone talking about. Jim tried to keep his cool at first, but when Yayo mentioned one particular incident that allegedly went down years ago involving Dipset and G-Unit's crew, the whole thing detonated. Clips of the fight have already racked up millions of views, with fans split down the middle, half saying Jim got publicly humbled, the other half claiming Tony crossed a line that can't be. Uncrossed, and just when people thought it couldn't. Get worse, someone leaked the uncut footage, unedited, unfiltered, unbelievable. This wasn't just an argument. It was a career-damaging blow that exposed everything these two legends had kept buried for over a decade. So what really happened between Tony Yayo and Jim Jones? And why did it get this personal? Let's break down the moment hip-hop stopped breathing. For decades, hip-hop has been built on competition, ego, and the unspoken rule: never let anyone play you in public. But what unfolded between Jim Jones and Tony Yayo live on camera wasn't just competition, it was public execution. The beef between Dipset and G-Unit goes way back. Born in the smoky chaos of early 2000s New York rap. Back then, Tony Yayo was the street enforcer for 50 Cent's empire. The man who'd say what 50 couldn't. Jim Jones, meanwhile, was Harlem royalty, loud, confident, and never afraid to remind people that Dipset didn't bow to anyone. For years, the tension simmered quietly, overshadowed by bigger industry feuds: -50 versus Ja Rule, Cameron versus Jay-Z, but that old rivalry never really died. Interviews, subliminal bars, and half-joking podcasts kept the energy alive. And fans always whispered, what if Yayo and Jim ever actually faced off? Well, this week, they did. It started on a joint live stream hosted by a major hip-hop podcast, a casual conversation meant to celebrate New York unity. The hosts clearly didn't expect a showdown. But when Tony Yayo joined the stream mid-interview, the energy in the room shifted instantly. You could feel the tension before a single word was spoken. Jim leaned back, cool and composed. Yayo smirked like he was waiting for a green light. For a few minutes, it was civil, just stories, laughs, and back-in-the-day nostalgia. But the second Yayo brought up who really ran New York, the mood snapped. Why? Let's keep it a buck. Giona held it down when y'all was still arguing over who got the pinkest mink. Jim laughing, you wildin'. Y'all had hits, sure, but y'all was employees. We was bosses. That one line, we was bosses, was the spark. The room went silent. Yayo leaned forward. Jim smiled, but it was that dangerous Harlem smile. The one that means, say another word and I'm going nuclear. What happened next was chaos. 2 decades of built-up tension exploding in real time. Yayo started bringing up receipts, old stories from tour buses, backstage altercations, studio politics. He said Dipset used to duck calls from G-Unit's camp, that certain promoters stopped booking Harlem acts because they couldn't move like queens. Jim laughed it off at first. But then Yayo dropped the bomb. Yayo. Tell em about the time 50 tried to put you on the remix and you said, nah, cause Cam ain't give you permission. The chat exploded. Thousands of fans spammed the comment section. Jim's expression changed instantly. No more jokes, no more smiles. "Jim, you sound like a clown, my boy. You talking about permission. Ain't nobody tell me what to do in my life. Don't rewrite history to make yourself look tough." At that point, the hosts tried to cool things down. Too late, Yayo kept pressing, calling Jim the Dipset spokesperson who never went platinum, accusing him of riding trends and screaming gang culture for clout. Jim snapped back, mocking G-Unit's downfall and saying they'd been washed since 2008. It got ugly. Both men were yelling, cutting each other off, throwing verbal haymakers, while the hosts helplessly watched their podcast implode in real time. Clips from the live stream show fans flooding the comments with fire emojis, crying, laughing reactions. And messages like this is legendary, and we need the full footage. But behind the viral chaos was something deeper, something personal. Because according to insiders close to both camps, this wasn't just an argument about old rap dominance. It was about respect. For years, Tony Yayo has felt underappreciated, overshadowed by 50 Cent's business empire and Lloyd Banks' lyrical legacy. Meanwhile, Jim Jones, after surviving label collapses, public beefs, and a few reinventions, had finally found peace until Yayo ripped it away live. On camera, and here's where it gets messier. Multiple industry sources claim Yayo went into that interview knowing what he was about to do. Allegedly, someone close to G-Unit tipped him off that Jim had been talking slick in private about how G-Unit's washed and Yayo's just a background dancer. So when Yayo showed up on the live stream, he came ready with quotes, memories, and even screenshots of an alleged DM exchange between Dipset affiliates mocking G-Unit's recent tour. Turnout Jim never saw it coming. The second Yayo mentioned those messages, Jim's demeanor changed completely. His jaw tightened. His eyes narrowed. He leaned into the mic and said, "You acting like you want me to expose what really went down in Miami? Don't make me say it, Liv." The chat went wild. Thousands of viewers started flooding the stream with "Drop IT Jim" messages. The hosts begged them both to stop. But by then, the damage was done. The audio clips from that exact moment are everywhere now. TikTok edits, Twitter reposts, Instagram reels. In one version, you can literally hear Yayo laughing before he says, "Say it, then. You ain't got the heart." That's when Jim stood up, looked straight into the camera, and said the line that broke the internet. "The difference between me and you. I built my respect in the streets. You rented yours." Silence. Even the co-hosts froze, and in that silence, Tony Yayo took off his headset, muttered something about clowns and cameras, and stormed off the live stream. The broadcast ended instantly. Within minutes, clips hit every social platform imaginable. Fans started choosing sides. Some said Jim Jones humiliated Tony Yayo. Others said Yayo pressed Jim with facts and walked away with the last word. But the real story? It didn't end with that live stream, because an uncut version of the video, the one before the cameras officially went live, started circulating hours later. And that's when everyone realized this wasn't just two rappers arguing. It was a setup, a trap that someone, and no one's sure who yet, planned from the very beginning. And once that footage hit the internet, it exposed something way deeper than a heated argument. It hinted at betrayal, backdoor deals, and a shocking twist that no one in the industry saw coming. The internet thought it had seen everything. But when the uncut footage of that chaotic live stream between Jim Jones and Tony Yayo dropped, it completely rewired how fans saw the entire confrontation. Because in the raw version, before the cameras officially went live, there was no laughter, no light banter, and definitely no random tension. It looked like an ambush that had been set up from the very beginning. The footage starts with Yayo already seated in the studio, microphone hot, scrolling through his phone with a grin that said he was ready for war. Jim wasn't even in the room yet. You can hear one of the producers whisper, "He knows what he's walking into, right?" Another voice, deep, confident, familiar, replies, "He will." That second voice, fans now believe, belonged to one of the podcast hosts who reportedly had ties to Gionit. The implication? That Tony Yoyo's surprise appearance wasn't spontaneous at all. It was premeditated. The footage cuts to Jim walking in, shaking hands, dapping up the crew, and sitting down. He looks relaxed, no security, no entourage, just Jim and a bottle of water. But from the second he starts talking, Yayo doesn't take his eyes off him. He's smirking, waiting at one point before the show even starts. Jim can be heard saying, "Man, this gonna be some positive energy today. I'm tired of all the fake beefs online. Let's show them grown men can talk it out." You can practically feel the trap close around him, because 5 minutes later, when the cameras went live, Yayo was already loading ammunition. He didn't come to talk unity. He came to humiliate, and that became clear the second he dropped his first bomb. Let's talk about how real Harlem gets when there ain't cameras around. You've still got that same energy from them Miami nights. The studio fell silent. Even the hosts looked blindsided. But Jim, he froze because that line Miami nights wasn't random. It was a callback to an infamous, barely discussed incident from 2013 when Dipset and G-Unit allegedly crossed paths in Miami at a private event that ended in a near brawl. Both sides had always denied the rumors. No footage ever surfaced. Until now, moments after Yayo said the line, he pulled out his phone, waved it at the camera, and said, "They said I was cappin'. Look familiar? I was cappin'. Look familiar?" Fans watching the live stream said, you could see a split-second flicker of panic in Jim's eyes before he caught himself. The hosts jumped in, trying to move the conversation away, but the damage was already done. Within hours, screen recordings from that exact moment were everywhere, with captions like Jim's face when Yayo brought up the Miami tape and Tony came with receipts. But what no one expected was what happened next. An anonymous account on Twitter, with a Dipset logo for its profile picture, posted a short clip titled, "What Yayo Didn't Show You." It was grainy, clearly filmed from a phone, but you could make out enough. The video showed a dimly lit Miami nightclub, two crews facing off, yelling, chaos, a brief scuffle. But the real shock wasn't the fight, it was who was trying to stop it. In the middle of it all, holding back people from both sides, was 50 Cent himself. The audio was muffled, but you could hear 50 shouting, "Not tonight. Not this way. Let's make money, not headlines." Fans lost their minds. The Miami tape wasn't just real, it was worse than anyone imagined. Within minutes, the video had millions of views. Ya reposted it with a simple caption, "Told y'all." Jim, meanwhile, went silent. No tweets, no statements, no appearances, but that silence only made things louder because just hours later, another video surfaced, this time from a completely different angle. It showed the same night in Miami. But now the footage continued past what Yayo showed. You see Jim backing off, walking toward the exit, saying, "This ain't worth it. Not for the cameras." And then you hear a voice, low, angry, off-camera, shouting back, "You been fake since the start. Capo." That voice, according to fans, sounded a lot like Tony Yayo. Suddenly, the internet split in half. One side said Yayo exposed. The other said he edited the story to make himself look tough. Then came the first twist. A leaked text thread hit social media, allegedly between Tony Yayo and one of the podcast producers from before the interview. "Producer, we should keep it chill. He thinks it's just a friendly combo." Yo, yeah, let him think that. I'm done with the fake peace stuff. He been talking crazy behind the scenes. Time to put a spotlight on it. Producer, just make sure we don't have to cut the feed. Yayo. Don't cut nothing. Let the world see. The leak changed everything. What fans thought was a spontaneous blow-up suddenly looked like a premeditated tick-down, a carefully orchestrated setup designed to embarrass Jim Jones publicly. Podcasters, media insiders. Even rappers started weighing in. One industry veteran tweeted, "Yayo just pulled an old-school move. Catch you live. Press you for the truth. Then own the narrative. But the streets don't like ambushes. That ain't man business." Within 24 hours, Jim's silence broke. He went live on Instagram. No crew. No hype, just him and the camera, and delivered a calm, icy response. "Ain't nobody ever lined me up and got away with it. I move with love, but I ain't no fool. You went live for clout. Cool. I got real receipts. Don't forget who helped you eat when the music wasn't doing numbers. You crossed the line." Then he dropped a final warning. "I ain't gonna post no videos. I don't need to. I keep mine in the vault." That single sentence, "I keep mine in the vault," sent the internet into a frenzy. Because two fans? It sounded like Jim was sitting on his own evidence. Something that could completely flip the narrative back on Yayo. And almost immediately, rumors started swirling that Jim had recordings, uncut footage from studio sessions, private phone calls, and behind-the-scenes interactions that painted a very different picture of who Tony Yayo really was in the industry. One insider tweeted, "If Jim drops what he got, it's career suicide for somebody. Y'all not ready?" Then, out of nowhere, a message appeared on Jim's Instagram story, just white text on a black background. "They tried to play me live. But the next round won't be on camera." Within minutes, it disappeared. Nobody knew if it was a warning, a bluff, or a promise. But one thing was clear. This wasn't over. Because just hours later, Tony Yayo went live again, this time with 50 Cent in the comments, and dropped one final, haunting sentence. "If Jim wanna play with files, we got archives too." The entire hip-hop world froze. What archives was Yayo talking about? Old Dipset unit footage, private calls, diss tracks that never dropped. Whatever it wasn't just drama anymore. It was a digital war, one that could rewrite New York rap history, and according to insiders close to both camps, someone, maybe Jim, maybe Yayo, was already preparing to drop phase 2 of this feud. The twist? Both sides think they're the one holding the reel. Truth, only one of them is right. If fans thought the argument was over after the live stream ended, they were dead wrong. Because what came next wasn't just drama, it was warfare. The feud between Jim Jones and Tony Yayo escalated from interviews and soundbites to full-blown information warfare, with both camps leaking private footage, exposing hidden alliances, and turning hip-hop's nostalgia circuit into a live-action battlefield. It all started 2 days after the infamous livestream, when an account called it Harlem Receipts appeared on Twitter and dropped a thread that flipped the entire narrative upside down. The thread began with one cryptic post. "If Yayo want to talk about history, let's talk about who really called for backup that night in Miami. #receipts coming within the hour." The account posted screenshots of old text messages and emails allegedly from Yayo's management team, messages that suggested to news. That suggested G-Unit's camp had reached out to Dipset first, trying to squash tension after an incident that got out of hand. One of the messages, allegedly dated 2013, read, "We need to fix this quietly. 50 says he respects Jones, just wants no more drama. Media can't get this story." If the texts were real, they directly contradicted Tony Yayo's entire "we pressed Dipset" narrative. Fans went crazy. Yayo lead. trended for hours. People began dissecting every second of the live stream again, noticing moments that now felt scripted, Yayo's fake nonchalance. The way the hosts baited Jim, the carefully timed references, even more explosive. The @HarlowMayseats account followed up with a second drop, never-before-seen voicemail from what appeared to be Tony Yayo himself. The voice on the clip said, "Yo, hit Jones. Let's see if we can talk this out. It's all love, man. I don't want no bad blood. This rap's *T, gotta stay entertainment, you feel me?" The audio was rough and distorted, but experts later compared it to known recordings of Yayo's voice and confirmed a 98% match. That was the moment the tide turned. Suddenly, Yayo didn't look like the aggressor anymore. He looked like the instigator trying to rewrite history. Fans flipped. The narrative shifted overnight from Yayo destroyed Jim to Yayo set himself up. Jim Jones, who had been silent since the live stream, posted a single tweet the next morning that sent chills through the industry. "Don't poke at ghosts if you ain't ready for hauntings." That's all it took. The next 72 hours were pure chaos. Clips started leaking from inside both camps. Short, shaky videos filmed in hotel rooms, recording studios, and private meetings. In one video, Yayo can be seen ranting at a friend about people trying to rewrite the past and fake gangsters trying to act holy. Another clip showed Jim on FaceTime with Cameron, laughing and saying, "You see what happens when you let clowns wear crowns." But nothing compared to what dropped next. A YouTube channel called Unwide Backdoor Files posted a 10-minute compilation titled The Real Story. Miami 2013. Uncut. The footage was grainy, clearly spliced from multiple phones. But it revealed the full story behind that legendary night. According to the footage, the Miami confrontation wasn't about music at all. It was about money. Apparently, both G-Unit and Dipset had been booked for the same afterparty, but only one was paid in full. The promoter allegedly double-booked them, leading to a tense standoff backstage. The video showed 50 Cent trying to defuse the situation while Yayo and Jim argued over who was supposed to headline. Jim in the clip, "We not doing no show for free? My name brings the crowd. Y'all know that? Yayo, man. You lucky we even let you share the stage." Then, chaos pushing, shouting, security rushing in. But the final seconds of the video contained something no one expected. Cameron stepping in, grabbing Jim by the shoulder and saying, "Let it go. They want us to fight each other. You see what's happening?" The clip cut to black. That ending shifted. Everything fans began speculating that the entire G-Unit versus Dipset beef had been manipulated, that promoters, bloggers, and even record executives had fueled the feud for clicks, clout, and cash. The phrase industry setup began trending, with conspiracy threads claiming Yayo had been pushed into ambushing Jim as part of a calculated content move by a rival media network. Meanwhile, Yayo went live on Instagram to deny everything. He looked furious, pacing his studio, waving his phone in the air. "I ain't leaking nothing. Y'all keep acting like I'm scared of that man. I've been outside. Don't let these edited videos fool you. They chopping *T up to make me look crazy. Chopping *T up to make me look crazy." But before he could even finish his rant, viewers noticed something wild. A FaceTime call from 50 Cent popped up on his screen mid-live stream. Yayo ignored it, clearly panicked. The call came again. He ended the live immediately. Within minutes, screenshots surfaced of a tweet from 50 himself. "I told him don't go on that podcast. Some people gotta learn the hard way." That one post blew the internet wide open. Did 50 Cent know Yayo was going to ambush Jim? Or was he warning him not to? Either way, it confirmed what many fans had already suspected. 50 was watching everything unfold from behind the scenes. But then came the real shocker. An anonymous email was sent to several major hip-hop outlets. including Complex, Hot New Hip Hop, and DJ Mechanics. The subject line read, "The Missing 10 Minutes." Attached was a video a longer, uncut version of the Miami footage no one had ever seen before. The first few minutes were the same. But then, after the chaos, there was an extended scene showing Jim and Yayo talking privately in the parking lot afterward. Yoyo's tone was calm, almost apologetic. "Bro, this *T got out of control. They feeding this to blogs, trying to make us look like enemies." Jim replied quietly, "That's because they scared if we link up, they lose money." Then both men shook hands. The clip ended there with peace, not beef. The industry went silent, because if that footage was real, then the entire feud, from the Miami fight to the live stream explosion, had been reignited years later by outside forces manipulating both sides. Bloggers scrambled to analyze who would benefit from reigniting this chaos now. Some pointed to rival podcasters desperate for viral moments. Others suspected label execs trying to reignite nostalgia beefs for streaming numbers. But the most common theory: someone leaked the uncut footage to destroy Yoyo's credibility permanently. And that someone might be closer to G-Unit than anyone realized. Done one of the wildest turns yet. Tony, Yoyo's own cousin, a former G-Unit road manager, did an interview with a small YouTube channel called Street Legacy Unfiltered. In it, he claimed it wasn't supposed to go that far. The podcast set him up. They told him it was friendly, but they had Dipset people feeding clips on the back end. They wanted that explosion. Yayo didn't know he was the content. The revelation flipped the entire narrative again. Suddenly, Tony Yayo wasn't the villain, he was the pawn. But before the dust could even settle, one last curveball hit. Jim Jones himself announced that he would address everything live. He posted a trailer to his Instagram with the caption, "Enough clips, enough edits. Let's talk facts. Tune in Friday. #TruthSet." The teaser showed flashes of headlines, old Dipset footage, and one new image: Jim holding a phone, smirking at the camera, saying, "If they wanted views, I'ma give 'em a movie." The screen faded to black, with one final line in bold white text: "The real footage. 72 hours. The countdown had begun." And everyone knew whatever Jim was about to release wasn't just going to settle the beef, it was going to blow up the entire industry machine behind it. When Jim Jones dropped that trailer, hip-hop stopped. Fans, journalists, rappers, everyone hit pause on their own beefs and tuned in, waiting to see what the truth set really meant. The anticipation was electric. You could feel it online. Twitter, or X, was on fire. TikTok creators were posting countdown videos. And even mainstream outlets like Billboard and Complex were preparing live blogs for the drop. Jim had promised to talk facts, but nobody knew what kind of facts he was sitting on. Some thought it would just be a verbal response, maybe a freestyle or a podcast rant. Others whispered that Jim had something more dangerous: footage, audio, or receipts that would change everything. The energy was so high that even veteran rappers started chiming in. Fat Joe posted a cryptic story saying, "NYC been too quiet. Somebody bout to shake the building." Meanwhile, Nor from Drink Champs tweeted, "I told them not everything belongs on camera. But now it's too late." The countdown hit zero on a Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, and what Jim dropped wasn't a freestyle, wasn't an interview. It was a documentary titled The Truth Set: Behind the Setup. The 28-minute YouTube video opened with grainy footage from the original live stream, Yayo and Jim's argument, frozen mid-frame, and a voiceover from Jim saying, "They wanted to turn men into memes, but I don't play puppet for nobody." Here's what they didn't show you: The video then cut to behind-the-scenes footage from that same podcast studio. Jim revealed that he had been recording his own copy of the interview from a hidden camera placed in his jacket pocket. The footage showed a completely different version of the story. Before the live stream even began, the hosts were caught whispering to Yayo, saying things like, "We'll bring up Miami. That's your moment. Try to make him react. We'll keep it rolling if it gets heated." It was undeniable. They had planned the confrontation for views. Then, Jim played a short clip of him arriving at the studio, showing that the producers lied to him. One greeted him saying, "It's just you, bro. No surprise guests." The crowd watching the premiere lost it. The comments section blew up instantly. This was a setup. Yayo been framed for content. Jim really had the backup footage. And just when people thought that was the bombshell, Jim dropped the reveal, an email chain between one of the podcast's producers and a media PR agency that had connections to a rival streaming company. The email literally said, "We can stage this Dipset versus G-Unit tension as part of the promo push. If it goes viral, it sets up our reunion event perfectly." It wasn't even about beef. It was about marketing. Jim let that email sit on the screen for a full 10 seconds, silent, letting the shock sink in. Then he said, "So y'all see? They turned our legacy into clickbait. But me? I don't play chess with snakes. I expose them." The video ended with a simple fade out and one last quote. "Real ones don't fall for setups. They flip them." Within minutes, the internet exploded. Hashtag The Truth Set became the #1 trending topic in the world. Over 2 million people watched the video in the first hour, but the shockwave didn't stop with fans. The industry itself started trembling. Podcasters panicked. Shows that had previously hosted Yayo began deleting episodes, scrubbing references to the feud. Insiders claimed at least 3 major podcast platforms issued emergency calls with their legal teams to review content authenticity policies. Translation? They were terrified of being exposed next. Media outlets scrambled. The Breakfast Club, DJ Akemix, and No Jumper all went live simultaneously trying to fact-check the claims. But all 3 were blindsided when 11111 11111 111111 111111 1111 and 1111111 LHF, LHO, L1111. Your Sisala was seen with 11. E 111111. You were 1. Aid, coit aid US. We L. We send. We have. It is it 11 of else, gutted. With Kai we law ticket begat K reset, but with us I sidik bas I webs sit get by us to sit to see the get the cut up wheat let up get us I'll wait so be but it up divide this. Jim joined one of the live streams mid-broadcast. He calmly told them, "They thought I was emotional. Nah, I was strategic. I let the clown show play so y'all could see how this media *T really works." The clip of that moment alone hit 1 million views before the stream even ended. Meanwhile, Tony Yoyo's camp was silent, too silent. Fans started wondering if Yayo was in on the setup or if he was just another pawn like Jim had said. Some claimed Yayo had been paid to play the villain. Others said he'd been blindsided by the producers to Dodden. The unthinkable happened. 50 Cent broke his silence. On Instagram, he posted a black and white photo of himself with Yayo and wrote, "Told my boy, don't play their game. Now, everybody exposed." LOL #chess, not checkers. That single post got over 1 million likes and reignited old-school loyalty among fans. Some took it as a sign that 50 was standing behind Yayo. Others thought he was distancing himself, saying, "I told you so." But one comment under that post drew even more attention. It came from Kamran himself, who simply wrote, "They tried to play us against each other. Good luck cleaning it up." Now that sent shockwaves, because for the first time in over a decade, it looked like Kamran Jim and even 50 Cent were united against a common enemy, the industry machine that had manipulated their history for profit. Fans began calling it the reawakening. Twitter filled with posts like, "This is bigger than Dipset versus G-Unit. This is hip-hop versus exploitation." They thought they were reviving old beef, but they just woke up legends. Even mainstream celebrities chimed in. Ice Cube tweeted, "Now you see why I said, own your platforms." But while fans celebrated Jim's win, others noticed something strange at the very end of the Truth Set documentary, right before the credits rolled. There was a flash of static and a quick frame showing a black USB drive with white text scrawled on it. "Backroom files, do not delete," appeared for less than a second. But eagle-eyed viewers caught it instantly. Was it a teaser for more footage? Another leak? Or just symbolic editing? Jim didn't say, but the message was clear. This story wasn't over. This story wasn't over. Within 24 hours, Yayo posted a mysterious video of his own, him sitting in a car, wearing sunglasses, saying only one sentence before cutting the feed. They forgot who recorded the phone calls. That line set off another explosion online. Did Yayo have his own set of receipts, ones that could turn the tables again? Suddenly, everyone was talking about Phase 2. Fans made theories, Reddit threads, and even fake trailers guessing what the next move would be. Some said Jim was about to drop a second documentary. Others said Yayo was about to leak audio that would end careers. But one thing was undeniable. The public no longer saw this as a feud. It had become something much bigger, a full-blown war over who controls hip-hop's history, who gets to write it, and who gets destroyed for profit. And somewhere between Harlem and Queens, two men, once rivals. Now symbols were sitting on files that could burn the entire ridge's core. And live, we are ridging ledger. Until we kiss, have the entire widge. In wishes, one last. Wire CF spoging, lives, wire I side, subijur legix, F, one, lies, one sawi. You have to see, while I live. Why is it lies, while why blies? My, dot said. Why civ is, why we have. We collide we evs. I so perita I lizard odd. We sagai I it's psycho with the music to curse it so grit guys I let's sank to kabadi I the read that the guy and stit let the guy lust but that up to it I technique to get it tests but it's industry to the ground. The only question left was, who's going to drop theirs first? 3 days after Jim's documentary set the internet ablaze, hip-hop was living in suspense. Yo-Yo's cryptic warning, they forgot who recorded the phone calls, had fans losing sleep. Every social platform was flooded with speculation, theories, and countdowns. Everyone believed he was about to strike back, but no one expected what actually happened. At 2:13 a.m. on a Tuesday, a new file appeared on Reddit, uploaded to a page titled backroomfiles_leak. The file name is audioset_truth or trap.mp3. Within 10 minutes. The file had been downloaded over 50,000 times before the account disappeared entirely. And the audio was stunning. It opened with Tony Yo-Yo's unmistakable voice. Calm, confident, even a little smug. You think they playing with me? Nah. I'm playing with them. Then, a second voice, clearly one of the podcast producers, replied, "You sure you want to go through with this? You know how this'll look." Yayo. It's all optics, man. Let the internet eat. We drop our side next week and clean it up. I already got 50's blessing. That single clip changed everything. Because if it was legit, if Tony Yayo really coordinated with producers and 50 Cent before the ambush, then everything Jim Jones exposed wasn't just truth. It was partial truth. Jim hadn't been the only target. He had been baited for something bigger. As fans replayed the audio, new theories erupted. Some said it proved Yayo was never the victim. He'd been playing both sides all along. Others said it was fake, AI generated to make him look bad. But the chaos reached critical mass when 50 Cent himself commented under an academic's post, writing, "That ain't even the full tape. Wait till they hear my part." The entire internet froze. What did 50 mean? His part? Had he been behind the scenes orchestrating both sides, the podcast, the setup, and the supposed reunion beef all along? The next 24 hours were a blur of madness. Fans were dissecting audio wavelengths, comparing speech patterns, and claiming to find clues hidden in old G-Unit interviews. Meanwhile, Jim Jones went quiet again, completely silent. No tweets, no interviews, nothing. Then, out of nowhere, a clip surfaced from an unreleased interview Jim had apparently filmed weeks before all of this even began. In the footage, Jim sits back in a chair and smirks. "If you ever catch me arguing on camera, just know, I already won before the cameras came on." That line hit like prophecy. People started questioning whether Jim had known the setup was coming from the start. Had he planted his own people inside the podcast? Had he baited Yayo into thinking he was walking him into a trap, only to flip it later with the truth set? What if both men knew the play, but only one walked away with the win? The internet couldn't keep up. Some claimed this entire feud had become a high-level psychological chess match, an industry illusion, as one YouTuber called it. Others insisted it was all real, too personal, too raw, too fake. And then came the biggest twist yet. A hacker. Collective calling itself Tape Room claimed responsibility for leaking the Yayo audio. They released a statement through an encrypted message board, saying, "We have the rest. There are 37 files in total. The final one will expose who profited from both sides." That message alone reignited the fire. If there were 37 files, what could possibly be on them? Who was profiting? The media companies, record labels, streaming services? Then, as if to confirm it wasn't just a bluff, the group uploaded a screenshot of a folder directory. The final file in the list was titled ny_powerplay_final_sentcut.mp4. The internet went feral. Sentcut, as in 50 Cent's cut, instantly became the top trending term on X. Every influencer, every journalist, every blog was now saying the same thing. 50's about to get exposed. But right when fans were expecting another massive leak, something unexpected happened. Every backroom files link across Reddit, Telegram, and Discord suddenly vanished. Deleted, wiped from existence. Even mirror links that users had re-uploaded were gone within seconds. The speed and precision of the takedown had only one explanation. Someone with money and connections wanted this buried. Hours later, 50 Cent posted a video to Instagram. Him sitting in a dark studio, smirking, playing one of his old records in the background. He leaned into the camera and said, "You can't cancel the narrator. I wrote the movie." Then he cut the feed. Fans lost it. Was he admitting to everything? Denying it? Was this his way of saying he controlled the story all along? Meanwhile, Jim Jones posted a black screen to his Instagram story with just 3 words, "Don't blink yet." That was it. No context, no caption. No ashos, THEs. But 10 minutes later, a few of his closest affiliates started tweeting the same thing. Don't blink yet. It felt coordinated, deliberate, eerie. Now the internet is caught in a frenzy. Both camps are dead silent. The hacker group has gone dark. And every outlet is scrambling to find out what NY_powerplay Yayo_Final actually contains. Some say it's just footage of 50 and Yayo planning the live stream. Others claim it's something much deeper: emails, payment records, even phone calls proving a bigger corporate hand behind the entire saga. But one thing's certain: the storm hasn't passed. Because according to a tweet from a burner account that many believe belongs to the same hacker group, there's one final post scheduled for Friday at midnight. The tweet simply read, "Final upload. Everyone gets exposed." And that means this feud, this chaotic, fiery collision of pride, loyalty, and strategy isn't finished. It's about to hit the point of no return. Jim knows it, Yayo knows it, 50 knows it, and the rest of the world are just waiting for the drop. Because when that file hits the web, hip-hop history will never be the same again. This entire saga feels like something straight out of a movie. Except this time, there are no scripts, no directors, no rewrites. Just truth, ego, and decades of tension exploding live for the world to see. Now the question is, what's really going on behind the scenes? Was Jim Jones the real victim, or the one pulling the strings the whole time? Did Tony Yayo set the stage, or was he being manipulated by people who wanted to revive old rivalries for views? And the biggest question of them all, what exactly is inside that final file labeled NY_PowerPlay_Final_Sent cut? Drop your theories in the comments below, because whatever's coming next could change how fans see G-Unit, Dipset, and even the entire media landscape forever. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell icon, and share this video before it disappears, because when the final upload hits, we'll be right here breaking down every second of it. Trust me, this story's not over. It's just waiting for the next track to drop. And when it does, every secret, every alliance, every lie will finally be out in the open. Stay tuned. Stay tuned.